Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today, I'm going to be casting for you a best of 3, once again from MLG Providence 2011. This game, or this series of games, is going to be from the MLG Providence 2011 Open Losers Bracket. So that is, they lost a match from the winners bracket, got dropped down into the losers match, or the losers bracket, and had to fight their way back up to get into the finals. So, this is going to be a set from the losers bracket. Spawning here in the bottom left position of Shattered Temple as the blue Zerg, we have viOLet. His opponent today spawning in the top right position as the red Protoss, playing from team It's GoSuEsports, we have GoSuGatored. Now GoSuGatored you might remember because I casted a game of his just a few days ago, but I saw this viOLet game, and honestly, I've been a huge fan of viOLet ever since he started streaming on his little Road to Providence stream. If you don't know, then viOLet was a player who was on a Korean team, but he had some personal issues that came up, and so he left his Korean team, and he was picked up by the CSN training camp, which is kind of a new thing where basically the CSN training camp takes some player from Korea. I don't even know if it has to be Korea necessarily, but they take a player and they basically put them up in a house and provide them with food and everything that they could possibly need so that they can focus completely on StarCraft and train for a tournament in particular. The only thing that they have to do in return is they have to stream everything, and everything gets streamed through the CSN channel. So, viOLet has been doing that a lot, and so I've been watching a lot of him lately on his stream, and he's so good. He's so good. He likes a lot of very early aggression, and he's just a really, really good player. I think he's a very creative Zerg player, does a lot of things very much differently from a lot of Zerg players out there. So, going to be checking out one of his games today. GoSuGatored, also, of course, a very, very well-known player, as I mentioned in my previous cast. He's a player that, like, nobody has ever heard of, and yet he comes out the gate and takes like wins off of like the best players out there. It's absolutely ridiculous. He does so well, and he's so good. So we are gonna see if he can fare well against viOLet. I should also mention that viOLet is also currently not on a team right now. Right now he's only doing that CSN training camp, and he has no team at all right now. So he just does his own thing. So it looks like viOLet's not going to be going for that fast expansion, as he did get up that quick spawning pool. Started to get up that gas, got up enough gas to get that Zergling speed, and now he's back to mining strictly minerals. He's got a few Zerglings on the way. He's got 4 currently out on the field. He's going to be able to pick off that probe. He's going to take his hatch. Looks like he's just gearing up to take his hatch right now. And in the base of GoSuGatored, we've had a very, very standard opening thus far. We had a gateway followed by a gas geyser, followed by a cybernetics core, followed by one more gas geyser. Constant probe production, always a good thing. And now he's going to be chrono boosting out 1 zealot followed by 1 sentry. So this to me suggests that he's going to be defensive. He's going to be defensive here for a little while he tries to get up some tech. He is throwing up 1 pylon actually back here. I'm not sure whether that's for vision or whether he's going to be hiding something back there, but we'll keep an eye on it just in case. The expansion has now gone down for viOLet. It is on the way. Zergling speed is just about to finish up. We are about to see Zergling speed finish up. In the meantime, second queen going to be on the way, so he can take that expansion. If we check out that harvester count right now, we can see that GoSuGatored is up 23 harvesters to 17 at the moment. Now researching that warp gate research, about halfway done on that. Looks like 2 gateways are going to be out right now for GoSuGatored, and he has thrown down a pylon now, so he's going to start to see, let's see, do we actually, no, he doesn't actually know that his opponent expanded yet, but I assume that at this point he can pretty much assume he saw the drone going down there, so he's going to have a pretty good idea that his opponent is going to be doing that. In the meantime, he's continuing to get out lots and lots more sentries. Always love this play. That to me suggests he's being defensive, and he's going to be throwing down that Nexus, and there it goes. Nexus just now being dropped, but the Zergling count here for viOLet is actually getting really, really high. Nice force field there by GoSuGatored, able to pick some of those units off. Nicely placed Zealot there that's able to do some damage. Ooh, looks like viOLet is going to start to focus down this Nexus, and he might force a cancel. He does, in fact, force the cancel, and now GoSuGatored is going to have to replace that pylon, or replace that Nexus, and he is going to lose 100 minerals there. These Zerglings in the meantime going to continue to run around the map, try to get some good scouting information. He does have this Overlord in place, so he knows that this has been placed down. Once again, Zerglings once again coming in right now to try to do some damage to this Nexus. This is something that I actually see from viOLet a lot. He really, really loves to try to get a lot of early Zerglings and try to force cancels on this Nexus as much as possible. He does that a lot. 2 gates currently out. Looks like a Stargate is now coming out here for Gatored, so it looks like he's going to be applying some pressure back on his opponent here very shortly. Continuing to get out lots and lots more sentries, needs to get up a lot of force fields so he can be defensive with those force fields. Then he really doesn't need a whole lot. Notice he's only got one Zealot. One Zealot out on the field right now, and then lots of gas-heavy units. He's got one mineral-heavy unit and lots of gas-heavy units so that he can be using his minerals on other things like getting down that Nexus, getting down that Forge, getting down more Warp Gates. He does have the Stargate now up. It looks like one Void Ray instantly being trained out of that. viOLet does have a couple Overlords here in position, but neither of them have moved in yet to scout. Will he be able to see it? If Gatored decides to send that Void Ray to the right, he's going to be able to scout that Overlord, and viOLet will indeed catch that. Or did I say that right? If Gatored sends this Void Ray to the right, he will get into the sight range of that Overlord, so viOLet will know about it. In the base of viOLet right now, he's got those Zerglings outside planted in the front so he can play very, very safe. He's going to be throwing down a couple of spines right now. He's expecting a push that comes very commonly soon after this Nexus goes down. A lot of times once players get their Warp Gate research up, they'll warp in a few Zealots and then they'll push with lots and lots of sentries, with 5 or 6 sentries and then a bunch of Zealots. And with that, with their force fields and Zealots, they're able to do a whole lot of damage to early game units like Roaches and Zerglings. Now it looks like viOLet's just trying to play it safe right now. Sporecrawler is going down. He has not actually spotted that Stargate yet. He doesn't actually know that that Stargate is up, but the Void Ray is now out. Looks like he's going to be picking off this Overlord here before moving into the base. Sporecrawler is going to be done in time to be able to deal with that. Right now, only 2 queens are on the map, but looks like viOLet's going to be pulling them back down towards him. Lair Tech has just finished. We have an Evolution Chamber now that has just finished getting that Zerg missile attacks as well. That's going to help out just a little bit because, of course, this queen, little known fact here, the queens actually benefit from that +1 Zerg missile attack, so they'll actually be able to do more damage once that upgrade is done. Come on. There we go. Now, as you can see, the queens do more damage than they did, so that's actually not something that's all that well known, and players don't normally take that into account. It's something that I think a lot of Zerg players forget about. If you get up that early +1 missile attacks, not only is it going to help your Roaches if you decide to go for that Roach tech path, but it's going to help you against air units. If your opponent decides to go for heavy Stargate tech, then it'll really help with your queens and the damage that they deal to those units. As you can see, this queen is going to be defending here. Second queen currently coming up on the way. Do we have any other queens on the way yet? Looks like, yeah, we do have one more queen on the way, +2 Zerg missile attacks coming down right now, as well as Burrow and Pathogen Glands. But the Void Rays have, or the Phoenixes rather, have just now arrived. Looks like they're going to be helping to pick off some of these Overlords. But viOLet does have well-placed Spore Crawlers in place to be able to defend against this, but a lot of Overlords are going to go down here for viOLet, as now the Infestation Pit is now being focused. Looks like viOLet's going to be gearing up to take his gold expansion, and we do have these Phoenixes being so annoying right now, dealing so much damage, and it looks like they are going to get one Overlord kill before backing off. Void Ray also going to be backing off right now because not that much damage was dealt. Still Zerglings at the front of the base, maintaining that scouting information. Gatored going to get some scouting information as of his own as he's going to be sending these Phoenixes around. Sees his opponent gearing up to take that gold, so now he knows that viOLet is going to be looking to expand here very soon. Somewhere around here, do we have a Roach Warren? I don't actually think there's a Roach Warren up yet. No, we do have a second hatchery down right now, so that's actually a very interesting choice in upgrades here for viOLet. I mean, the reason he's getting up that upgrade right now is for infested Terran Marine damage as well as Queen damage, so that's very interesting. No Roach is actually coming up quite yet. Oh, there we go. Roach Warren now has been started. Spire is also on the way here. Ooh, it looks like that one Phoenix might get picked off. That just barely survives. Manages to pull back in the base of Gatored. We haven't checked this out in quite a while. Looks like the gateway count is currently up to 5 gateways. We do have that Forged researching that +1 ground weapons. We do have a Robo facility also up here for Gatored, as well as a Robo Bay. But holy cow, we do have a big Zergling attack coming in at the front right now, and lots of infested Terran Marines are being thrown down behind this cannon. And look at how fast that cannon drops to all these units. Now, all the Zerglings going to be streaming in, dealing some damage here. Keep in mind that these Zerglings at this point are pretty much expendable. viOLet is going to be taking that gold base. He's applying some pressure on his opponent so that he can get that gold base. And those infested Terran Marines are basically free. And now these Zerglings are getting up into the main, getting lots and lots of worker kills. So far, 6 workers killed for viOLet. If we check out the harvester count right now, we can see that viOLet is going to be up a little bit, 66 harvesters to 59, and now the extended thermal lance is now being started here. We do have one Colossus on the way as well, but the gateway army for GoSuGatored is starting to get a little bit high. So he's going to be able to push out very, very soon here and be very aggressive. Some Phoenixes still out wandering the map. There is one observer in place, and oh no, it's been placed right over that Spore Crawler, and there's an Overseer there as well, and it looks like it is going to go down, but I think he did actually manage to scout this expansion. Yeah, he does know that this expansion went down. So and now it looks like viOLet just now going to start mining on that gold base. So his mineral income is going to be huge right now as he's going to start to get up a lot of units. Now we do see roaches now being produced en masse here by viOLet. Lots and lots of roaches now on the production tab. We do see +1 Zerg ground carapace on the way, as well as that Glial reconstitution. So it looks like it's going to be almost like this is a very, very strange style, because those are very, very late roaches. It's very standard to see Zerg players go for a lot more roaches a lot earlier in the game, but as we can see, viOLet went for that Ling Infestor and then transitioned into roaches, which is a very, very interesting transition. Looks like GoSuGatored going to be trying to take a third of his own, trying to take the safe third back in that back corner. More and more gateway units continuing to be warped in. Before he was warping in zealots and sentries. Why? Because those are the ones that get you where you want to go. When you want to save up minerals, you start to warp in some sentries. Then when you want to start to get your tech up, as you get tech like upgrades and things, you start to warp in zealots. But then now, once he wants to apply pressure and deal damage, now he's getting the stalkers. Really, really like that smart thinking there from GoSuGatored. 2 Colossi now out on the field. Looks like we do have a third on the way right now. The extended thermal lance is done. Blink is now on the way as well. And as well as +1 ground armor here for GoSuGatored. That third base going to be up and running very soon. Is viOLet going to be aware of it? I don't think viOLet is at all aware of this expansion yet. No, he doesn't know anything about that expansion going down quite yet, but I have a feeling that GoSuGatored might be looking to get very aggressive here very soon, just because I'm seeing all these stalkers being warped in. And we do have a third Colossus now out on the field. It's very common to push here, getting pretty close right now to that 170 food mark. That is, of course, kind of the money food mark for a lot of Protoss players. As a Protoss army starts to get very, very strong, very, very intimidating at about the 170, 175 food mark, and that's generally when Protoss start to get very aggressive. Now we do have a fourth base now coming down here for viOLet, so it looks like he's gearing up to take another expansion. Hasn't yet taken this back expansion, surprisingly. Hasn't even taken down the destructible rocks to him, but as we can see, the unit count here for viOLet is starting to get very, very high. viOLet is already at 186 food right now. He knows his opponent have Colossi. With that Spire, he's getting up some Corruptors, so some Corruptors are going to be coming out onto the field here very soon. Hydralisk Den also down here for viOLet, and that is a very, very interesting play. He's getting up a lot of different types of tech. This is going to mean that he's going to be very, very flexible, and that once these roaches die, he's going to be able to reinforce with all different kinds of tech depending on what he wants. Notice these infestors are still the same infestors that he had in the earlier game. But holy cow, it looks like GoSuGatored, yes, he's starting to get to that 170 mark, and I think he's going to be pushing out here very soon. But viOLet might try to attack right as he gets max and might be able to get in some good damage before GoSuGatored decides to move out or max, because GoSuGatored is currently at 180 food to the 194 here of viOLet. As we can see, Hive Tech now being started for viOLet, as well as Grooved Spines. That's the Hydralisk range upgrade, +1 flyer attacks, and Ground Carapace level 2 is on the way. Here comes the engagement as all these roaches are now moving forward. Force fields going down all over the place. viOLet dropping so many Infested Terran Marines down, and the Corruptor count is so high right now. 10 Corruptors are taking down all of these Colossi. They're going down so quickly to these Corruptors, and those roaches are actually cutting through everything quite nicely, and viOLet is now just going to be pulled back. Notice he's still maxed right now despite having lost a ton of roaches in that engagement, and notice what he's reinforcing with. He's reinforcing with Hydralisks. Why is that? Because he managed to keep a lot of his Corruptors alive, for one thing, but even if those Corruptors died, his opponent isn't going to be focusing too much on Colossi at this point, because Colossi are very, very slow to get up. He's going to know that his opponent is going to be focusing on units like Immortals. Once he saw that huge roach number, we're going to see Immortals here coming out of GoSuGatored. I'm almost certain of that. We do see a second robotics facility going down right now, so I'm almost positive we're going to see Immortal production here out of GoSuGatored, and viOLet is kind of metagaming him a little bit by now, instead of getting more Corruptors and things, he's actually going to be switching into Hydralisks. Hydralisks are a little bit pricier, and they're going to add quite a bit of DPS to this overall army, and it looks like viOLet going to be getting aggressive as he maxes out again. As we can see, there is one Immortal on the field here for GoSuGatored. He's trying to protect his gold expansion here, but viOLet has so many units right now, sending the Corruptors out in front. They might absorb a little bit of Stalker damage there, actually, if they are out in front, but these Roaches and Hydralisks are doing so much damage. They are 2/2 in upgrades, and Hydralisks take down Gateway units so fast, and they are now going to be pushing into that gold expansion, dealing so much damage. Some Infestors are out on the field. Still looks like 3 Infestors are currently out here for viOLet, and notice he is not dropping in food at all. Continuing to remax with more Hydralisks, more Roaches, and notice the Greater Spire is on the way. The 4th base is up and running, and it looks like he's really trying to end the game on 4 bases right now. He knows he's at a very advantageous position right now. Looks like GoSuGatored not going to be feeling too good right now. Needs to get these gateways all warped into warp gates. I think his gateway count is actually getting really high. He's going to be able to reinforce very quickly, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it quick enough, as he's only at the 100 food mark to the 200 food mark of GoSuGatored, and the Mothership is now out here for GoSuGatored, but is it going to be enough? There are 2 Overseers at the front of this army, and all of these units are just cutting through these gateway units so fast. The Mothership goes down, and all these Hydralisks and Roaches still dealing so much damage to all these forces, and whoa, viOLet actually just going to be pulling back right now, wants to be in an absolutely certain position that he is going to win, going to be pulling back to Broodlords. Looks like Broodlords are now going to be on the way here for viOLet. We currently see a lot of upgrades now coming down for him as well. We currently see the double Evolution Chamber researching, +3 Ground Carapace, as well as +3 missile attacks. That's going to make his Roaches and Hydralisks even better right now, and he's now going to be taking his 5th base as well. This army is starting to look very intimidating here. And viOLet is just playing this out so well right now. GoSuGatored's still on a very high warp gate count, but warp gate units just don't do that well against Hydralisks, Broodlords in particular. Unless you have a lot of Blink Stalkers, then Broodlords just cut right through Gateway units very quickly. And here comes the final engagement as viOLet moves in to deal lots and lots of damage. The army for viOLet is just huge. These Broodlords dealing so much damage, and nothing is actually damaging the Broodlords. There's the GG out of GoSuGatored. viOLet is actually going to be taking Game 1, meaning that we are now going to be jumping into Game 2 right now, ladies and gentlemen, to see if GoSuGatored is going to be pushing this to a Game 3. So stick with me and find out. Game 2 of viOLet versus GoSuGatored from MLG Providence 2011, the Open Losers Bracket, coming up in just a moment.